In order to keep focused and keep moving, you first of all have to have a goal. If you get in your car, you have a destination. If you don't, you just drive around in circles. And unfortunately, more than 80% of people, maybe 90%, just drive around in circles in their life. They drive to work and they come home and they watch television and they socialize with their friends. But when you have a big goal, that acts as a motivator and it helps you to focus on the one thing. Then you ask yourself, what one skill will I need to achieve that goal? What one skill will help me to achieve the goal more than anything else? And then you go to work and you study every single day to develop that skill. Remember, all skills are learnable, and you can learn any skill you need to learn to achieve any goal you can set for yourself. And then you do something every day to help you to achieve the goal. 7 days a week. You never let yourself off the hook. Napoleon Hill, after a lifetime of studying successful people, wrote a book called The Master Key to Riches. And the whole book was a very, very good book, but it said, soon you will know what it is, soon I will tell you. In the last paragraph of the last page it says, the master key to riches is self-discipline. It's the ability to make yourself do what you should do, when you should do it, whether you feel like it or not. And so that's really the key. Make a written plan, organize the plan, set priorities, and then do something every day until you're successful.
The problem with some of our younger generation today, they just want to jump and see themselves up there, you know, overnight. It doesn't really happen. What you need to do is to be very, very focused as a person and be dedicated to whatever that you are doing. It is not really good for you to now go and try something, then after a month you just say, no, it doesn't work. You jump into something else. I think you need to be very, very focused in what you are doing. Once you believe in what you are doing, you see, you should not take your either business or job as something that you must do. Okay, you must take it as it's part of your hobby. If it's part of your hobby, then you do it better.
Every other fighter fight for certain things. Everybody fight for what they fight for. My thing is this: I keep my eyes on the prize. I never focus on things outside the ring. My focus is the guy that's in front of me. You get to where you're trying to get to by staying focused, staying on a parallel path.
How do you stay focused? Answering this question is perhaps the most important, critical thing you will ever do in your lifetime, period. So I hope it is an absolute priority for you to learn to take back your focus in life, for you to get more distinct and more clear about what your focus really is, and for you to finally decide, you know what, if I don't finally get my focus in check, if I keep wandering around distracted, if I keep looking at every new thing that pops up, if I keep trying every single new opportunity, if I keep saying yes to everything, if I keep listening to everybody's complaints, and if I keep doing whatever they ask me to do, at some point, you'll lose your life. And I don't mean that physically as in harm or death. I mean that one day you'll wake up and say, I don't feel like I've accomplished what's meaningful to me. I don't feel like I'm in a job that I care for. I don't feel like I have connection with my family or my friends. Because at some point, your focus drives everything. It drives your thoughts and your emotions, right? What you focus on is certainly, if you focus on the negative things, you're gonna be negative. If you fail to focus on the things that are important, meaning your priorities, then what happens to your relationships? What happens to the overall quality of your life? Focus is driving everything in your life. You gotta get it back. It's not just about being productive. We'll talk about that. It's about experiencing the best quality of life. You hear this new movement called the mindfulness movement, right? About the new popularity of these conversations about presence and meditation and things like myself and my industry have been talking about for decades. Well, you hear about that. That's really just about reining back in control of our focus in a world that's gone mad and crazy and distracted. So how are you going to get your focus back? Well, let me give you some counterintuitive ways to do it. The first thing that I need you to know in order to get your focus back is to realize that you need to make fewer decisions. Fewer decisions. Why? Well, as we know from neuroscience and we know from productivity studies, that the more decisions that we actually make, the more our brain becomes fatigued, right? The more decisions that we make, the more we utilize the glucose that's really fueling our willpower, that's fueling frankly, our ability to make more decisions and higher quality decisions. Matter of fact, the more decisions that you tend to make, the less effective you're gonna be over the long term, because you're gonna utilize your ability and your resources and your brain's power, literally your willpower, will go out the window. So you wanna minimize the number of decisions you are making. How do you do that? Well, here's some simple things. One, stop browsing. You know, I know maybe you found me because you were browsing somewhere, and I hope you make me part of your focus on your personal development, that I'm a purposeful part of your life. But I can tell you, overall, browsing completely wipes out your focus and your willpower. Even all these little things you're focusing on are utilizing all your brain's resources. And over a period of time, when you stop browsing and you go back to focusing on something, guess what? You tend not to be able to focus on one thing and get things done. You start multitasking and doing lots of things, but where your work isn't really focused, nothing gets accomplished. So what happens is your brain is fatigued. Guess what happens when your brain's fatigued? You find yourself sitting with a bag of potato chips, and what do when you have the remote control? You're just flipping randomly through things. Do you ever notice that? Meaning it's easier to become distracted the more distracted you are. Meaning the more that you aren't focusing on one thing at a time, the more problem you're gonna have later on to complete one thing at a time. And I know that makes sense, but here's this simple solution if you missed it. Stop browsing so much. All those browsing, all those tweets that you're reading, all those news feeds that you're reading, guess what? Every time you look at them, guess what your mind has to do? It has to make a decision, pay attention or not pay attention. And that decision is costing you focal power and resources later on, even if you don't know it. Now some people say, well, Brendan, I study neuroscience too, but all those little things I see, those are firing off my dopamine and my vasopressin. I'm getting excited because I'm seeing all these things. My mind feels rewarded by seeing all these things, making all these decisions. And it is true. That's why it's such a frenzy and it becomes so addictive, but it also becomes so fatiguing. And if you're constantly fatiguing your brain by focusing on a million things, you'll never get your focus power back. Does that make sense? So stop making so many decisions by stop browsing things to decide whether or not you should pay attention to them. Just stop browsing. When you do things, do them intentional. If you're looking for something, search for that one thing, find it, you're out. Stop clicking on all the blue links, stop swiping all the apps and all the pictures. Do the things that are gonna move you forward.
If you're gonna change an area, you do three things. Number one, you focus on it and you get clear and compelling vision for what you want. If your body's not where you want it to be, I tell you there's one simple reason. It's not your focus. No, I focus on it. I focus all the time on how fat I am. No. See, if you focus on crashing into the pole, trying not to, the more you try not to, what you focus on, that's where the energy goes, that's where you go, right? We all know that. But what people tend to do is, I'm saying focusing on what you want, not what you don't want. And not only just focusing on what you want, where you focus and say, well, I'd like to be strong, I'd like to be energetic, I'd like to be fit. It's focusing and making it compelling. If your only reason you're focusing on it is like, well, I need to lose some weight because I feel fat, versus I want the energy to burn because with that I'll have more passion, more aliveness, I'll be able to impact my children. I'll be able to, I'll be able to take the business to another level. I'll be able to have fun when I'm stressed out and tired. I'll have creativity flowing through me. You can't just focus on it. You got to create a clear and compelling future in that area that will pull you towards it so you're not trying to push yourself. If there's an area you're not improving in, think of three pillars if you would. Pillar one is get focused and clear. What's compelling? Where are you? Really? And don't lie. Where do you want to be? And make it so compelling you can't help it. When you wake up in the morning, you want to transform this area of your life. So the quality of your life already is better just because you are so excited about what you're after. When you do that with your body or your emotions or your finances or time or any other area and you start focusing and you're clear, you're going to have energy. You're going to have drive.